Throw some light on this.
No.
Well,
Somalia. And Museveni said, look, if you can't pay for the army, we'll go to Somalia. You can't.
Sudan never succeed to quill us into slavery. It never. Over urbanization.
We understand what the journey is about. How it can sometimes take a little distance to bring us a little closer together. With ways to save more when you send more, World Remit is here for you, so you can be there for them.
welcome to Africa Speaks of today. My name is Stephen Mulindwa, and I do hope that you had a wonderful time as always, and you're looking forward to a very good Christmas and a beginning in the new year and what is going to happen in the new year and so on and so forth. Now, what have I got in today's program? Uganda goes to the polls on the 14th of January 2021, and President Yoweri Museveni will stand again for his sixth term in office. But after 34 years in office and at 76, has his time run out? It's one of the questions that we'll probably try and answer in today's program. Now, there are 11 candidates in this election. The most famous of them all being Robert Ssetamu Kyagulanyi, aka Bobi Wine. What chances does any of them have of unseating one of Africa's longest serving presidents? What chances indeed? Now, he has already said he's not going anywhere soon, so can the inevitable happen, and he's voted out. It's only God who knows that. And with me in the studio today are two patriotic Ugandans, Mr. Richard Ruwemba, who is the managing director of Inter Africa UK Limited. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Okay. Mr. David Selkera, a community worker and in central London. Welcome to the program as well.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah. Now, you are both patriotic Ugandans. You've seen the situation in Uganda.
Yes.
You have seen probably more elections than any other Ugandans, or you have seen more elections just like any other Ugandans. What do you think so far of how things are going as far as this election is concerned?
I would start as a layman, and as you rightly put it to us, that we are patriotic Ugandans. Personally, I've been, I went through some kind of situations where I could call myself a patriotic.
Yeah.
Because I was imprisoned in Uganda.
Really?
During the struggle of Museveni coming to power.
Okay.
I was taken, this history probably I don't know, but nobody knows about it.
Yeah.
I was taken to Katikamu Tactical Headquarters. And the crime I had committed at the time.
How long ago was that? How long ago was this?
Over 34 years.
Okay.
Before he came to power, that is. I was taken to what was regarded as a Katikamu Tactical Military Headquarters, which was the epicenter of trying to fight the so-called Royal Triangle bandits, as they were regarded at the time.
Yeah, at the time, yeah.
And during my time when I was in prison, I realized that some of the people who were kept in those prisons were not at all associated with all the activities that were going on in the area.
Yeah.
Probably that's why some of the reasons why these guys failed to get the right people for the right crimes. Having said that brief of background, it brings me to the question in play of today, which states that 34 years of the current administration, Museveni administration, and his views and his plans, you wonder whether there's certain things he hasn't copied from the other administrations, which is doing the same way. He's doing the same mistakes probably. And that may lead, or that is leading to where we are at the status quo, what we're discussing about tonight. Because when you look at the young man who was 30, who was 4, he claims he was 4 years when the current administration came in place.
Yeah.
And if he has come out to sort of try to challenge,
to challenge for the leadership,
grandparents,
then
there's some more questions to ask, maybe.
There's some more questions to be asked,
probably.
Whether
they are doing the same mistakes the other administration did, or whether they haven't handled certain critical issues the right way.
Okay. But generally speaking, what do you think, not in terms, of course, you can't imagine what is going to happen, because there are 11 candidates who are standing for the presidency. And I wanted some of these political leaders, by the way, who are members of certain political parties to come down and tell us what the parties are trying to do to unseat President Museveni. And the difficult part about it is that we don't really know what is going to happen. We are seeing what's going on. But in view of what is going on, what do you think is really going to happen, if we can anticipate what might happen? Is there any anticipation at all?
Well, there has to be. There has to be some degree of anticipation. I'll leave that to my brother to throw some
light on that. What do you really think might happen?
From my point of observation, I've been abroad from 1992. That's when I left Uganda.
Okay.
But I've been going to Uganda every year, at least twice a year. The situation which I've come to observe is what we can refer to as retardation. Retardation. Everything's just coming from where it's meant to be, worsening. In a way such that people are looking for a starting point. Which in the last previous terms of change of governance, there's not been anyone strong enough to give people hope.
To give people hope?
Yes, just in case of a change. People who have been anticipating, looking for change, they didn't have any sense of inspiration, according to my observation. But right now, according to what we saw on social media, and we don't have much contact to talk to the people in Uganda, because they're under some kind of threat. They can't express themselves on the phone or anything. But my observation looks, people are waiting for someone to give them something like organized. It's not like a hooliganism where people don't have a command. But once these people have a chance to get a central command, there are so many people silently burning for an exit out of this deteriorating situation.
But the issue that still remains a bigger one is that, other than, of course, being a Ugandan myself, and knowing what is going on, and knowing anticipations that might happen, or certain anticipation, having looked through the previous elections, the difference between the other elections and this election is the momentum of the youth, which is so high. And I wonder, where is this coming from, other than, okay, Kyagulanyi is a youth, but where is the entire momentum coming from? There must be somebody putting money down, or is it just that people are tired and they say, you know what, we are going to go regardless of what?
I think it's a bit of both.
There
is an element of what has driven the young man who was 4 years old when the current administration came into power. That's number one. If this young man went through all areas of either education, whatever, to reach where he is, and he is sort of losing, is one of the people who is losing hope in the current administration, for example, seeing that he's, for example, I understand, I hear is a graduate, so he's gone through that kind of education, and he's worked as a businessman through his career of education and music and everything. At least for him, he's done a bit well compared to others. But you may find that when you look at the percentage of the country, Uganda, you find that the percentage of the young people, both women and men, is on the high, almost more than 80%. So given that situation, I remember when we used to grow up, the the land administration which were left by the systems and structures that were left by the white men when they left Uganda, for example, had certain ministries, which ministries had to continuously look at the numbers coming in areas and plan for these numbers.
Okay.
I don't know what the term they call it. These ministries, for example, Ministry of Planning and Development, these are ministries which liaise with other ministries.
Okay.
For example, in terms of how many children are born in such and such a district on monthly basis, annual basis, whatever. So they plan the schools, they plan the institutions like the medical institutions, they plan the roads they're going to use. They look into all these kind of aspects. And then this trickles through to the top man or the parliament, the House of Parliament. Which House of Parliament has got to have a bigger plan to all these districts. I think there have been some gaps in between, whereby probably the central command is
no longer filtering down.
Probably, I'm not so sure.
To the people on the ground.
Because when you look at what is happening, we used to have structures and a system in place, which is to tell the top administration how to plan ahead of the offspring coming in. In terms of schools, in terms of health, in terms of road networks, in terms of food, and all the catastrophic that may happen or they may befall these kind of population. Probably that's one of the aspects. Remember I said yes and no. Another one I think is if someone is pushed between a hard surface and a rock, probably when it turns back, it can become very unpredictable. I don't want to say that the Ugandans have reached that level, but it brings me some more questions. If we see a young man who was 4 years old, by the way, we shouldn't be talking about all the 11 candidates here. But I don't know why you're concentrating on the 2 people here.
No, we're mentioning him because of the youth, and because it's mentioned that it's because of
the young lady is also, I think, in that category.
There's a young lady there, but the momentum is with Kyagulanyi at the moment. So that's why he's a hot topic, because you know he's everywhere. The media has sold him more than all the other candidates. He's even sold him more than the president himself. That's why.
I have a feeling that the current administration may have lost touch with the base, if I could put it that way. And in the process, the base feels that they haven't been served well. There was a time, I think, when the current administration made mistakes by airing their views on air, international media, as if they're not serving the subjects, which might have made a mistake. And if you could air that on international media, but if it is in the real deeds on the ground, then the wananchi or the civilians or whatever, they start asking questions. If I grew up when my parents used to grow coffee, they used to grow cotton, the food crops and cash crops, and this is the money used to send me to schools, to look after me when I'm sick. If all these kind of departments are not able to sustain these kind of individuals wherever they are in Uganda, then the only alternative which is there probably is to sell a piece of land which my father left me, and I go and buy a border, which is a motorcycle, and I start touting
to earn a living,
to earn a living or whatever. In the process, when I'm touting around these customers, I find the wrong guys, they hit my head with the iron bar, gone. My piece of land, which was left to me by my dad, is gone. And whatever I bought to see that I earn a living is gone.
It's already gone,
So if there was some degree of continuity, my family stops there.
At that moment.
Piece of land left by my grandparents, I've sold it. I bought a border, tried to earn a living. I was killed in the process. Land gone, no earnings. So the siblings that were left behind, they start to fend for themselves. So you find a lot of sections of the society in this kind of situation. Vicious circle.
The question is, how did we get to this? How did we reach this level? How did we reach this level of such that it has come to this since the last 30 years? If this is how things are, that people are selling their lands and stuff like that, where did we go wrong? Where did Museveni go wrong? Because he started very well.
Yeah, he did start well.
He started very well. See, when
Very
he came to power in 1986.
Yes.
He must, according to my observation,
Yeah.
he must have a hidden plan or agenda to make sure that when people are left in the lowest level, what we call minimum existence,
Yeah.
surviving
Yeah.
by either begging or doing anything just to make you go through the day. Sometimes when someone is so hungry, it turns into anger.
Okay.
Easily.
Okay.
And when someone is angry, it's that person, even if in a discussion, there will be lack of concentration, there will be lack of hope. It's like when you go in boxing, official boxing,
Yeah, yeah.
and someone hits the other one loses the composer of the game and becomes angry. It can be easily, but kind of overpowered.
Okay.
Now the
okay.
people are in such a situation that the kind of anger they're going through and having less hope, you don't know what you are going to go
Yeah.
through.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you happen to get pregnant, some people can go to the extent and say, I'm ready to be a woman or a wife
Yeah.
to a man who has 4 other wives, just to
Yeah,
support me.
just to support, as long
Just
as
support,
I get
yeah.
the support. Now, the thing is, it's not that Museveni doesn't have the people with the, that he doesn't have the people who are educated to bring Uganda to the level that it should be on. He has,
Yes.
the educated people are there, and the education, and apparently, or I should say from my observation, schools have been open ever since he's been in power. So many schools were open, so many institutions of higher learning are there. Uganda has more universities now than it had 30 years ago. Uganda has more schools than it had. In almost each district now there's a university, you know, and they are with the college. So people with the college degrees are so many. We have, roads are done, hospitals are built, but still there's something missing. There's something missing. Where is, when we talk of the budget, when we talk of the oil, we talk of certain things which are really not existing, which are not there. This is one of the things that I think any of these political leaders would have been nice to have them here and explain why are these things, if everything is there at the table and you have an incoming, you have a population that is going to school, that is creative. What is missing? Is it the government not encouraging, or is it just the people? Because we have a massive population outside of Uganda.
Yes.
South Africa alone has nearly 500,000 Ugandans. USA, even here, there are so many Ugandans, and though they're highly educated, but there's still something which is not right in terms of Ugandans not planning for themselves, the way Ghanaians and Nigerians are doing. Is there something?
I think this is my personal answer to the question on the floor. I think we have gone through a lot of disturbances, political turmoils and all that stuff.
Yeah.
As a background, a basis of where we are and why things are happening like this. We are lucky the current administration has got a President Museveni who happened to have served in some of the governments, like Obote's government.
Yeah.
So that's where he started from.
Okay.
So you would expect that he saw some of these systems and structures in operation.
Yeah.
So you would expect him, when he got a chance of being a leader of that country, he would come aboard with all this knowledge he acquired during that time. But probably he's got wrong people, well educated, because you could be educated but not learned, or you could be learned but not educated.
Okay.
These two things are very, very, very complicated.
Okay.
You could, yes, we have learned people or educated people, but are they the right quality? Are they the right caliber? Going to a university and being trained on a job, you go through phases.
Those are two different
things.
Yeah.
Because if you handpick me, for example, today, Uganda, okay, you talk nicely, let me go and take you to Minister of Communication in Uganda. I might, do God knows what. My communication could be here on the camera, but have I got the qualities, the skills,
that requires
the
you
experience
to be successful?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do I have the systems and structures in place to follow? Are there procedures? There's a lot which takes on these things to be happening to benefit the beneficiaries. I think we have some kind of lacking there, and you may find, for example, that they have the House of Parliament, which is God knows how many numbers of people are there. Yet these members of Parliament cannot effect the policies that are supposed to be from the government side of things to sustain the growing community, if I could call it, the growing population.
Okay.
When I left Uganda, we had 10 million people.
Yeah.
Today, as I'm talking tonight,
it's over
40 million people.
Yeah.
So if there was a proper way of following this up, by the time they would have 45 million people, whatever, they would have structures and systems in place to know what the volumes they're dealing with, how do they have this sustainable continuity of medical, education, road networks, food sales and food production. If I could backslide a little bit, we had what we used to call systems in terms of, for example, agriculture, which was our basis, our background, sustainable economy to sustain the masses, to sustain the government. We used to have some support, for example, group cooperative unions, of which they had structures in most of the districts.
Okay.
The cooperative unions had their own bank, cooperative bank. The cooperative unions had in place a way of helping the farmers in order to advise them on what they grow, in order to get markets for what they grow, in order to get loans for either mechanical or other products they need.
Yeah, but you're talking about a system that was once done by the government.
Yes.
But the structure has changed now.
Yes.
You can go and open a cooperative union. You can go and start something that will help others so that it doesn't, the back of everything doesn't fall on the government anymore. And he has said this several times, Museveni himself. He says, look, the people can form their own unions, and TESO, I think, have certain unions in there where they're selling.
And I think in Bali, Bugisu is still there.
Yeah, they still have some of these unions.
Yeah.
So the structures are there, and they're happening, but still there's something missing, which is not. It's like in Uganda they say balondemu, selected people. You know, selected people. That's what it means. That are the ones in certain positions that, even though they are not in government, they still have the power to do certain things, but they are not in government. Yet they probably, due to some knowledge of someone in the government, they have the powers over others. How can Uganda handle this? How can we get these people into such a way that they don't have such a big hold? Because all of us are pointing at Museveni, but somewhere along the way,
there's some people are failing him.
Not just people failing him, but we are failing ourselves as well. Yeah, because there are successful Ugandans in Uganda. There are millionaires in Uganda who are successful. Yeah, they are. So how are these millionaires managing to succeed, and you and I and all the other people are not? It's a question that needs to be addressed. Any ideas?
From my observation,
there
is a political force which keeps most people
under the ladder,
whereby you can have a very big department. The person on top is not technically conversant with what is happening.
Okay,
you're supposed to collect that information from someone who has come and do for the purpose of doing what? Making, like finishing a project.
Okay.
And you find the final managing director has no clue
of what is going on.
Of what's going on. If it's asked in the presence of someone who is technically conversant, that will be end of story. There will be no final answer. They just wait. Let's wait for the young man. He's coming. The meeting can be put on hold for some time. And that young man knows financially he's not benefiting in any way by helping this man on top.
Okay, okay.
So
I
that
see-
kind
I
of
see your point.
situation,
Yeah.
like when you talk of agriculture, where Uganda has been depending, the main income was on agriculture.
Yeah.
At the moment, when you see the products, like a coffee, it's nowhere to be seen anymore. Maize, there was a time when I was in Uganda, there was so much maize, surplus, but there was someone in charge of export,
Yeah.
to export that maize abroad at a certain price. When you look over
Just one individual.
just one individual. The same case was importing and export of sugar. An individual has been put in charge to control the price. All other people, the primary producers, are deprived of everything.
Okay.
They have lost hope, but they have all the energy to do that.
Yeah.
When you look at things like import, whenever you bring in anything from abroad, the taxation
Yeah. It's quite high.
is too unreasonable. It's not based on percentage. You can buy, let me just give you a very simple example. You can decide to import a car from here to Uganda, something like let me just give you an idea, like you buy a car for £2,000.
Okay.
When you go there, you find the taxation is for twice as much the cost of the car.
Really?
Yes. When so they just look at it and say, no, this is what you have on paper.
Oh, yeah.
You
This
don't
is how
care.
much you're
Even-
supposed to pay.
yes. So that kind of discouragement is under certain control. Everything, when Uganda Revenue Authority, you have to be prepared before you do anything.
Yeah. Okay.
So when you find that people who have that connections, there's what we call connections. They say someone can help you to do this and that. When you find you're doing something which is not right, you get discouraged. You say, I want to go
You
into
go
that
back
kind
to,
of
to the kind of business.
Yes.
Now I want us to go back to the elections because this is a key moment in Ugandan history when things might change. As we speak right now, the NRM government has already got 79 unopposed people. 79, because I was getting information yesterday.
Yes.
And 79 of those people are going to stand in certain regions when they are not opposed. There isn't anybody. So the national resistance movement has already got a ladder into the government already. Because if you have unopposed people, obviously, whether
That's a big number.
it's a big number.
Out of 400, yes.
Yeah, exactly. Now, all the others that will come in will find that, and that issue comes in because of money, because all the other political parties and people who could have standards, individuals and so on, the money was a major issue. How do you see that as an advantage already? Putting Museveni back into office.
I think it is an advantage, but probably could ask why is it so?
Ah, okay, okay.
I believe it is so because, number one, like I've mentioned, that there are ministries, so many ministries where you find a minister, you find a minister of state, you find an undersecretary.
Okay.
Those are three more senior positions. All the three more senior positions in a ministry, they're being allocated funds.
All right.
They're being allocated motor cars, security, medical, for themselves and their families.
Yeah.
Housing, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, that's aside. Then there's another element which we have observed, which never used to happen in other administrations before. The issue of corruption, of mafiaism.
All right.
I think the two are different, but they may sort of entangle it together. Because there's a degree of corruption
Which is at its feet.
which is sad, very sad.
Yeah.
And probably that takes us back to the having educated or learned people in places of authority, yet the results coming out of those places of authority
It's not
is not worthy.
Yeah, it's not worth
their
it,
positions
yeah.
or the money they're being paid and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And who is to blame? For example, we're in a house here. This is, let's call this our house. You could be the head of the house, which is your father, I could be the mother, and it could be the child.
Yeah.
So these are three pillars of the house.
Yeah.
So whatever happens in our household, if our son is naughty around the village,
Yeah.
the responsibility or the blame is not going to go to our son. It will go to our household.
Yeah, yeah.
The household of Mr. So-and-so.
Yeah, yeah.
Look, the product of Mr. So-and-so.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
We are all pushing these blames to the current president.
Yeah, yeah.
Because he hasn't called his house in order.
All right.
Some of the factors it could be discussed this evening. Some of the factors may not be realized this evening. But the head of the family should have the ability to put his house in order.
Yeah.
You cannot tell me that 34 years you haven't got the grip of controlling mafia, and you go next door the country, like for example, you visited Rwanda and said, you see, I've got thieves in my, oh come on, how can you say that things? You can't say things like that. By the time you mention it to your friend in Rwanda, that means you should have systems in place to counter
the thieves
and stabilize this.
Yeah.
But if we've gone through 34 years having thieves
into your house,
of which thieves are some of them are your cronies, some of them have been brought handpicked from your village or whatever, or you went to school together.
Then you can't blame anybody.
I don't know. I don't know.
You can't blame anybody. Is there an idea at all how we can, anybody else can? Because even if Robert Kyagulanyi becomes president of Uganda tomorrow, the system is not going to go away. It's going to be there. It's going to take him maybe any other person. It will take him years to get that system back in place, as it did with Idi Amin and as it did with other leaders. What do you think a new leader can bring in that could counter the corruption, that could counter most of what is being left behind? Because ideally, when I look at it, it's become a vicious circle.
It is.
How can that be corrected? Do we bring in outsiders?
No.
You don't want outsiders?
No, there is tendency right now, which is working on the basis of whom you know is better than what you know. Someone will do something wrong, knowing he knows someone there who is going to give cover or protect whatever wrongs are being done.
Okay.
Now, when you look at the judicial justice team in Uganda, the way people are punished, some people go to prison.
Others don't.
Others don't. Others, when someone is being taken to, before you even leave the police station or court of law, the file has disappeared somewhere. That person will be waiting for you on the corner. That system needs to be worked out first. If there's someone does anything wrong and not be punished at all, someone comes with a car without any number plate and drives it on the road. Others are waiting for their registration and what have you. That kind of situation needs to be tackled from somewhere. There must be a judiciary that is really effective. Otherwise, if you know you can do any criminal offense, and as long as you have someone who can bail you out, everything, forget about school fees, drugs being taken from hospitals, from government stores, as long as you know you are untouchable. That kind of situation cannot be solved by anyone outside. There must be a system which needs to be streamlined. That's what from my observation, whereby at least people like the young generation, when they grow up and knowing that if I commit this kind of crime, whatever is going to happen to me, when you come from prison after serving that sentence, it's a lesson, practical, mentally, and physical, that whatever happened to me, that would be a teacher to demonstrate to other people who are intending to do the same crime.
Now, I've got something here which sort of keeps bugging me anyhow, and it happened in the sense that the 11 candidates who wanted to stand, who at one point the political parties, other than NRM, wanted to stand together and get one individual to represent them as one flag bearer. But it didn't happen. They sat, they discussed, and nothing happened. Is this partly greed? They should have sat and come up with an idea and say, let's get Robert Kyagulanyi, let's all stand behind Kyagulanyi, or let's stand behind more of UPC, or let's stand behind somebody. Mo is not UPC, sorry. Mo is DP. I don't know who is standing for UPC, but let's get people with all of us sit together and come up with one individual and try and see if we can unseat Mr. Museveni. This never happened.
I think we need to look at the dynamics of politics in Uganda.
Yeah.
I think the dynamics of politics in Uganda has immensely changed from what we used to believe to what it is. You may find that some people are looking at the change with the factor of the army. Who is going to control the army?
Ah, okay.
So that's why we see these two generals there. The two generals in the race, they have the ability, they have the knowledge.
Yeah.
One of them has served as a chief man for over 10 years.
Yeah.
So other people are saying, maybe if that young man, I can't call him young man, that general takes over the mantle, he could be in connection with the army.
Yeah.
And the second general also has been in the intelligence for some years of Uganda.
Yeah.
So he's got some kind of history and some kind of knowledge about the army. Probably is that character, the dynamic of the army, probably is playing a role. Going back to the question you posed to my brother here of if anybody comes in, what can he do to unturn the wrongs that we're seeing happening now?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what I'm going to say on tonight is we may have to have some situation like the late Jerry Rawlings did to Ghana.
In Ghana, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, to kill everybody, to kill all the generals. Yeah, to kill all the generals.
Not to kill.
Yeah.
This time they don't have to kill.
Yeah.
But people have got to pay for the price for their wrongdoings for the society of our country.
Listen, somebody's in Sudan. He's civil disobedience happened in Sudan.
Yeah.
Could that happen to Uganda? Because the general in Sudan is currently
never
in
say
prison
never.
as well.
Never say never.
But can it happen? That's the question.
I don't know. But I don't think we need to reach that level because I think we are civil enough to see that. If you look at what has happened in Kenya, for example, when Moi was being replaced by, I think there are certain civil meetings that took place. Of which civil meetings had to talk to the old man that listen.
This is the time to go. The Kenyan situation is a bit different from the Ugandan situation. I think Kenya has one big advantage. It has the language of Swahili, which more or less makes up a huge unity. And I think Kenyatta had left a legacy, and he had left a foundation in Kenya, whereby just like the one in Tanzania, that legacy in itself and the people in administration in Tanzania and in Kenya, because of the legacy of what these leaders had left behind, that foundation couldn't be moved anywhere. And in Kenya, they tried their level best. That is why their army and other government sectors have totally remained sort of neutral, and they haven't had these changes in so much because of what had been left in there. That way it was easier for Moi to go because once the pressure came, those behind him all were telling him, no, we are not going to stand behind you anymore. I'm sorry, you have to go. Because I did a couple of interviews here and they were telling me that's what exactly happened. And as soon as he said, look, as long as I'm not going to face any criminal charges or anything else, I'm going. And that was put in writing, and he went, which I don't know whether it can happen in Uganda.
Because the issue I brought in, the dynamics of the army, could be playing a big role in terms of our politics in Uganda.
Okay.
Because some of the senior officers of the army have come out to say, we are not going to salute that young man.
Okay.
Publicly. It's on record.
Yeah.
So one wonders.
Yeah, but two of them have accepted now. Two of them have accepted, that if he comes in as the next president, they will salute him.
About 3 days ago?
About 3 days ago,
Gave a positive side of it. And at least two of them have said so publicly. and we don't know what might happen to them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
In the meantime, in this, you could find them going little
It is sad.
there's a lot of fear, intimidation.
Yeah, yeah.
Much as you said, if someone is being educated and someone is learned, the difference is the performance. You might be having so much knowledge,
Yeah, yeah.
but someone ends up doing something which you don't expect.
Okay.
There will enough someone will tell you that I went to the highest university, but that education and what you learned is the education which put into practice to show example of who you are.
Okay.
But when you think you can just buy, for example, someone might come without not to the best schools. You find someone very intelligent, the family has played a very important part.
Okay.
You come from school, you learn so much, but when you come to family life, normal life with the society, that's when your education can be implemented.
Comes in as
effective.
Effective, yeah.
Yeah. It's so that the current situation where there are so many universities, some of them are just teaching people to get land. Knowing as soon as you come out of that university, you have a degree, there's no job for you, there's nothing. You find some people who are riding border borders and doing just to survive for the day.
Okay. Now,
they end up in the same category, whereby you are being learned has lost meaning because you can't put it anywhere into practice.
Okay.
You end up, you try to make yourself humble and forget about whatever degrees or PhD you have in your background because there's nowhere to utilize. That's it.
Yeah. To utilize it.
And financially, someone can even be induced into doing something wrong. They say, what is someone who's from the university?
Yeah.
He went into bank robbery.
Yeah.
I've seen some people who were caught stealing goods from traders. They said that it was between life and death. Just to have something to eat, other than it's more way starving or committing yourself by not eating.
Yeah.
So that situation, it's still something. There is going some time to be some more information as a survey. We just came in here as laymen.
Yeah.
But we should find groups of people to be responsible in different criteria. Like we're going to college, someone said this is an engineer, but when he doesn't even know how to connect to anything here,
Yeah.
someone has just come from NVQ, he's hands-on.
Yeah.
As soon as he comes in here, he knows what to do.
Exactly. Yeah.
That kind of situation. Some people just aim at saying, "I've got a master's degree in what? I've got a PhD."
I've got a PhD.
But when they go to the practical sense, he cannot even change a light bulb.
Yeah.
And when he looks at you, say, "Who are you?"
Yeah.
I have a master's degree in electrical engineering.
Yeah.
But when it comes to practical sense, he has gone through that.
Yeah.
But we need to be humble in a way. Do you make progress? Can we go over the first hurdle? That thing. So education and administrative matters here.
Yeah.
People being given positions to be in charge of departments.
Yeah.
Whereby it's just a word that deprived of anything. You've been given so much chance to be top of everything, but when it comes to a performance, you're just waiting for someone who is technically conversant to do that thing, which leaves a lot of stagnancy in much of the developments that are ongoing.
Now, I wanted to look at the role of women. When this elections comes into effect, women make up another percentage, over 60% of the electorates in Uganda. And our parliament has also got a lot of women in it. And in fact, there are areas which I think the president had designed that there are women parliament, and the army and the women. And Rwanda has done something similar as well. And the role of women in parliament and the role that would be of women in Ugandan politics. Could that be a game changer in future?
I think the gender issue has been quite managed well. I give a credit to the current administration.
Yeah.
But it takes you back to where we started.
Okay.
If all these positions are being given to, when we're looking at the gender balancing, and the same individuals in these departments given the authority to deliver haven't delivered, then the end result is...
It's going to be the same. Got to be the same.
We've got the numbers there, so many percentage of women, so many percentage of men, but the end result to the indigenous citizen, the local person in 100, 200 miles away.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that individual and his family getting the stuff they need to get?
Okay, okay.
So you end up having the numbers,
Yeah, yeah.
but those numbers are not doing anything for that individual. And if those numbers are there to show that, yes, there's a gender balance, you have this, we have ministries.
No, the reason why I try to look at and maybe mention them to a certain extent is that their numbers in parliament and their numbers within the political structure of the country at
and
the
the
moment,
army and other
and the army is creating a balance
Yes.
where we might not have wars in future. It has helped Sudan, because Sudan, they are looking at, the women are saying, no, you have to get your angers down now, because the two men currently in Sudan, the vice president and the president, had their issues and they couldn't sit in the same room. But because the women were present, that had an impact on the political change, game changer in Sudan. And I'm looking at it in Uganda and I'm thinking there could be a game changer as well. We have women in parliament, we have women in political positions as well. Kyagulanyi has a lot of women in his future government if he comes in. DP has that, FDC have that. They've all got that structure now that the women are playing a certain role. Could this be a game changer in itself? Not just those in parliament or in government, but the fact that they're in other political parties as well, and there's even a woman who's standing as a candidate. There is that. Is that having an effect on? Could that be a game changer in terms of the Ugandan politics?
According to my observation,
Yeah.
I had a saying go that charity begins at home.
At home, yeah.
In most homes, when there is a lady and a dad or something,
Yeah.
the shaping of that family
Yeah.
has a very, very big influence from the mom.
Okay. Of the
And when
child.
a child, and that child who's grown, when they grow up, they form a bigger part of society.
Okay.
When someone has been brought up in a way which is living by example, mom said this,
Yeah.
you wait, if anything, let me go and ask mom. Well, those kids grow up in that situation.
Yeah.
By the time they come up if they come into administration, they find some of these people who are beat so harsh, they're most likely to be influenced by the ladies.
Yeah.
Even a lady say, let's listen to the lady here.
Yeah.
Some of the ideas which have been kept behind for so long, they have a lot of knowledge. They can do so many things, but they've been denied for some time. Once they're given a chance to be brought into administrative issues, I have a feeling, and I believe the society will be much easier.
Today,
To that message that we need to spreading around through like schools, someone can even learn more or go home and say, my mother is now in this such position.
Yeah.
So we give that chance to the ladies or the women. I have a feeling that if they have a higher percentage in the administrative matters in governance on various departments, I have a very good belief they're going to play a big role.
Yeah. In future,
Yes.
as far as it's concerned. Yeah.
Not only in the future, but they have so much potential that has been put somewhere. Some of the voices have not been heard.
Okay.
To the point, some of them can even tell their husband, if you go there, why don't you say this thing on behalf of what?
Yeah.
Because I'm not being given that chance.
Yeah.
But once the chance is there to listen to them, that moment a lady can say so much what they have in mind, on their minds, and that gives a better opportunity for them to, once they're given more chances of for a higher percentage.
Okay.
That's
now, I want to also to go into an issue of the land. The land issue is becoming a major issue. And to a certain extent, I think it's a big political game changer that has affected Museveni's government right midway through the 35 years, of course, but in the last 5-6 years, the land issue is extremely important, not just in Buganda, but in the rest of other parts of Uganda as well. Now, how do you see this? This is another key as far as elections are concerned. People are being chased out of their land. People are buying acres. And on top of that, foreigners are the ones buying. The Chinese and so on are coming. And we are looking at normal Ugandans somewhere being marginalized. Could this be another issue that is probably forcing young people and other people to turn to Kyagulanyi when they see?
Like I said, when I mentioned the scenario of the young man who sells the land and go and buy a motorcycle, and the process of trying to earn money dies on the streets of wherever, it is a very important issue, because land and the citizens of Uganda, they're intertwined, if I could put it that way. It's the land where we cultivate our food crops.
Okay.
It's the land where we cultivate our cash crops. It's the land where we live. It's the land where we are buried. So land is, I could say, is the key.
Yeah, it's
factor.
Extremely vital.
Yeah, vital. So if you come and start playing around with the land, with your end gains as an administrator, you're playing a very big and a very dangerous game.
You're playing with fire.
Exactly. Because you come and create a situation which warrants that person to part with his land, piece of land, in view of getting some money to better himself. And in the process, some of this land have changed hands without the
knowledge of
the people, the owners of the land, which is very sad. So I think this brings a vacuum of people who are disillusioned, if I could use that word, who are so angry about certain aspects, how these aspects have been handled by the current administration for a period of time. And we haven't touched the issue of the people who sacrificed lives
during the war,
who sacrificed a lot during the war, who have been forgotten. That could be another aspect. The different aspects of the society. But land is a vital issue, which, if the current administration happened to come back in administering the affairs of the nation, they have to work tirelessly to see that they change over what has been going the way it is going. I don't know whether they can do it, but it's a very big issue.
What do you think?
To me, some people have lost all their hope because of land. The first item of someone being considered homeless is not just someone sleeping somewhere in a flat or dwelling in the city. Someone can plan, or if anything goes wrong and someone goes back to where
go home and you plan from home.
Be it a family piece of land, be it even put together by through kind of groups like charities and societies. Land is such a vital situation whereby it's the root of civilization, where people can go back and say, I've been in the city, I've failed, I can't do anything. It can be like the market has been backed down. If someone has been a trader or whatever kind of...
At least you wake up in the morning
at least
and
you
go
wake up
back
and say, at least I've got somewhere
where I'm going to.
You can run out of a burning house and say, I managed what? To come out, borrow anything to put on, and you at least have hope somewhere. But when you have nowhere to go, you might end up doing what? Being deprived of everything, but not land. So land is so important. Once there's a way to protect the people.
It used to. Now that's
something I could.
I'm getting information as well. Several, in fact, I'm not getting it. It's there already. That several of these NRM supporters are saying, if Museveni loses power tomorrow, or if something goes wrong with Museveni, there will be a lot of violence. There will be a lot of what? Because he has lost. And how can he lose? He's not going to lose. So there's that fear factor that if he loses, then we are going to be go back into war like what happened years ago. Because once he loses, I think there is that tendency that a lot of things will accompany what Museveni stood for, and then we go back to where, because he brought peace to the country. Now, because he brought peace to the country, therefore he's the only man who can handle the peace. No one else can handle the peace. How do you think about this now?
I get that one with a pinch of salt. as a Christian and a believer,
Yeah.
that there's a creator above there, I don't believe any human being can take people at ransom. That without me,
No one else is going to be here.
I don't believe that. But in reality, of the sense, like those guys are saying,
Yeah.
I believe others have been saying the same. I remember Gaddafi used to say that the people love me, people like me. But when things turned around, the people were not there to like him. Let's pray that such a situation doesn't arise at all in our country. Though there are some rumors talking about the current administration prepared for the eventualities that may happen in case they happen to lose, that they want to cause hell from whatever. Mayhem probably is the word. But I'm sure as we are talking now, all the eyes are on the country called Uganda.
Yeah.
And when I talk about all the countries are on the eyes of called country Uganda, is because part of our percentage engine running of the country comes from these countries. Western world, American, whatever. So the money sustaining the country Uganda comes from them.
Okay.
So if you are an investor, you've got some interest in that company, then if anything is turning a little bit volatile, you'll be concerned.
Of course. Yeah.
Hang on, we did invest some money in this company. What's happening? I hear some rumors, things may go wrong here. Are we safe?
So we can run away quickly. We need to go away quickly.
And I believe what happened to Rwanda in Rwanda is a very good example, though I don't want to bring that in picture. But maybe some countries didn't act quickly
to help
Rwanda with the genocide that happened in Rwanda. And those who were supposed to help Rwanda didn't act effectively, in my view, to stop whatever happened. But in this case, if people like the generals and wherever army people, officers, come out and say things like this, like the rumor is happening, I'm sure there are certain safety nets which should, we the laymen, we have to wait and see what is happening. The only thing the laymen are going to do, those are the voters, to vote in the person or the party they feel is going to do good or to continue doing what it is continuing to do. So those are the two left and right. Either you vote in somebody you feel, or the party, that this person or the party is going to do me, to undo all these things we've been talking about since we started talking. To sort of going to.
So is that just a fear factor? They are making people fear so that they vote the president back in office because that fear. That fear factor is there.
Yeah, bit of both. Some agencies or some departments use this fear to say, you saw what happened. If you don't allow me to come back, this might happen. I'm in control of this. I'm in control of that. I'm in control of which is okay. But this other people are saying, yes, we've been with you, we've served with you. For example, the generals, the two generals, we know what happened, but we are now on the other side. We've seen that you cannot continue driving the truck ahead. So that's why we are saying, no, let's get a chance to stand in and try and take care.
Something I wanted to add on that question, that in case there is a change of government, that people are going to be kind of grabbing land and what have you. I remember there was a time after the liberation war from Tanzania, there was so much looting. People could take anything. Someone could come to a studio like this one and they ran out with a big amplifier, not even know what to do with it. Then when there was a calm voice from President Yusuf Lule, I was still a young man, I saw people out of humbleness, they were returning items.
Which had been stolen.
Which had been stolen.
During the looting.
Now, when I saw the current situation, I want to compare the two situations. There was some repercussion between the Kyagulanyi's party and the security forces. Some boys were just, you could see their body languages, just ready to do anything. But one voice was telling them, don't lose your temper. calm down. Some of them could not even, the loudspeaker was not enough to cover all the people.
Okay.
But that word had a lot of influence. So, the way the people were listening to this, it gives me hope that this thing could happen again, whereby people after looting, no one ever went to search houses and properties.
They just put the things
back.
By the street, by the street.
Once there is hope from one voice, I don't know who's going to be next in power. But once that voice comes out again, me as a layman Ugandan, to what we've gone through, I have a lot of hope. People, instead of like burning down the city, like the country, a city like Masaka, it was bombed,
Flattened,
completely.
flattened. Up to now, you can see where the state hall used to be. It's still in rubble. But people are still, they're surviving. There's a lot of, from my observation, when I compare the two scenarios, I have a lot of hope. The Ugandan society, the way we are created, the way we are brought up, how humble we may going through these hardships, this moment of hardships. There's a very big chance. Like someone has bought a piece of land. You can't just say, so I won't take this land from here to here because it belonged to my grandfather. If there's a way, some calm message being spread around, people who are worried that I took this land illegally, definitely will be feeling guilty.
And then give the land back.
No, what I'm saying, the people who know, there must be a way. Because when you said someone had a plot somewhere, someone is taking it away, but you cannot take it physically away.
Oh, it's going to be there.
People have got proper documentation somewhere. If the Uganda is proof, now so and so, I have hope.
Okay,
there won't be violence.
We're coming towards the end of the program, and I've got to acknowledge a number of people that have been watching the program. Richard Saka, then there's Stephen Tafo, who said, "Wow, great show, Steve and guests. Thank you." Hoods Bobi, who've of course written quite a lot here about obviously just one word. Kaduka free anti Aduka. I don't know what that means.
Kaduka
free anti Kaduka. She's written that, I don't know, maybe 100 times the same word, and it's quite going on. And then he repeats it again. Hoods Bobi, that's his name, and repeats the same word again. Then Joseph Adamson, should we say Uganda is a failed state? He's asking. Should we say that Uganda is a failed state? Then there's Beatrice Akello. Wow, brave Steve, great show and inspiration. Thank you for the great work, dear. Blessings and shalom. Okay, got who else? Share. Florence Olivia Miimba Musisi says, thank you for sharing. Akwa Daswan, she's watching. And, you know, this question of Mr. Joseph Anderson, should we say Uganda is a failed state? I don't think it is. I don't think it is. But I mean, Somalia was a failed state.
Oh yes,
Yeah, completely failed.
We haven't reached
that level. But the fear is we could go down that road.
Yes.
If things don't really work out and the infighting comes in, because we have so many arms at the moment in the country. People have got arms and
unaccounted for, by the way.
And then of course we don't want the situation of Rwanda where genocide took place. But that fear is again existing, which could happen to people from Western. But we don't want that to happen.
Not at all.
How can that be avoided? How can that be avoided?
I think if, for example, the day of 15th January happens, and the tables are turned around, and
they're saying we're not going anywhere.
Of course.
But
I don't see that happening, because if the current administration has got already 79 people unopposed, even if they do so bad, they can get another 30 or 130. So the parliament has got a 400 and something. The current main opposition as today, which is NUP, has failed to reach 30 districts so far. So,
no, what might happen is a situation. It's just like what? It's that DP and for the democratic parties, they may share. the other side, so that we have a hand parliament and we don't have a full parliament.
That's likely.
NM takes shares,
and the rest combined together.
So we have a hand parliament as it happens here, so that the person doesn't really have such a stronghold onto the entire country as such.
That would be the best solution, by the way.
Okay. That's the best solution you want. Now, I just want to say thank you, both of you, for coming and obviously talking about the Ugandan election, which is coming in January the 14th, 2021. I do hope at some point I may have the representatives of certain political parties here to come and discuss this issue, because we're coming towards it, and whether you like it or not, it's a topic that's not going to go away. It's going to be here, and we really, really need to discuss it and hear where we're going to be heading from. So I call upon those who might be interested, especially in coming and joining me here at the table and discuss this issue. It's an interesting one, but we need to go and find a solution to it. Thank you very much for viewing us, and may God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much too.
I think that was okay.
At World Remit, we understand what the journey is about, how it can sometimes take a little distance to bring us a little closer together. With ways to save more when you send more, World Remit is here for you, so you can be there for them.